so today we're going to be looking at social motivation, namely affiliation needs. And our two main objectives that we want to be focusing on are describing the evidence that points to our human affiliation need, and then additionally, looking at how social networking influences us. I want to welcome in my other classes. How are you doing? Hopefully you're being well behaved for your substitute teacher. Things are going great. But this is now module 40. Let's do it. Okay, so the first thing that we noticed, and the first thing your book started talking about, was our need to affiliate. And then really we're talking about like not affiliating. Like what does it look like when we're not affiliating with others? So when we talk about affiliation needs, we're talking about, yes, the need to belong, and the fact that that's kind of inherent or a basic need among people. The evolutionary psychology kind of like has permeated its way into this textbook in every single section now. But they've talked about the need to be around people, looking at how that helped boost the survival of our ancestors, or so they posit. They think that anything more than 150 is not exactly optimal for us because that's more than what we've been kind of hardwired into interacting with and flourishing with. So anyway, when we look at this, there does seem to be study after study that your book cites supporting the evidence for our need to affiliate. So before we go anywhere else, do any of you have affiliation needs? Let's talk about it. And what does that look like? Okay. I anticipated this. Oftentimes when I ask young people, what do you guys like to do for fun? The very first thing they'll say to me is, hang out with my friends. Do you have a need or desire? Do you feel compelled to hang out with your friends? No. Raise your hand if the answer is yes. I'd say about half of them. How you doing? Cool, Sam, we got you an unassigned study hall.
Awesome.
You're on it. What about hanging out with your friends is desirable to you? What about hanging out with your friends is something that you say, you know what, I want to do more of that, because that is valuable to me? Elizabeth?
Because you like get this sense like, oh, these people like me, or they love me, or whatever, and it makes you feel like, oh, you belong, like you want to keep doing that because you feel like a close bond with those people.
So you feel validated by that? It helps your self-esteem maybe a little bit? Yeah? Alondra, what were you saying?
I was just saying it feels the
Hierarchy of needs, yeah. Sense of belonging, self-esteem, very good. Is hanging out with friends, why else do you think it's enjoyable?
No.
Hawkins, who's your best friend? Is it Jason Shooty?
Yeah.
I thought it would be Shooty. Like hanging out with the Shooty?
Sometimes.
Sometimes?
Okay.
What do you guys like to do? Answer the Call of Duty online?
Yeah.
Do you? Yeah, sure. What else do you guys like to do? What are some of the stuff you do?
Play sports, I guess.
Play sports, yeah? You hang out outside of school?
Yeah.
You ever go to an athletic competition together? Like a game?
Yeah.
Yeah. You ever cheer on the Southport Cardinals together?
Yeah.
Yeah. You ever go on a double date together?
No.
No?
No, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you mostly just hang out.
Yeah.
Is there a difference between the face-to-face personal contact that you have with your best friend Jason Shooty or online? Is there a difference there? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Try to like, okay, what is the difference? Try to describe that to me.
It's more, I guess, it's better to be face-to-face and more over the phone.
Sure.
It's more, I don't know.
Real?
Yeah.
Authentic?
Yeah.
Cool. CJ, you work with the Booster Club, yes?
Yes, I do.
We could say the Booster Club fosters or enhances affiliation among Southport students. Could you say that?
Yes.
By working with groups of people, has that validated you? Has that helped you? Have you liked to do that, or is it just like, eh? There's no right or wrong answer. Just try to be real.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay? What about it?
I don't know, like just making things and working towards something, seeing a response, like how we get big student sections, or you know, when we're winning and loud and stuff like that.
Absolutely, okay. So, accomplishment?
Yeah.
Mastery even? Cool. Anybody ever play a sport? Okay. Hunter, you played on the football team, yeah?
Yeah.
Play with Sam?
Yeah.
He's kind of a dog, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sam, Hunter, any other football players? Okay. Did you feel a connection with your teammates in football?
Yeah.
Either one of you, will you describe it to me?
Uh,
Is there a need to affiliate? Okay, so say
Well,
do you play defensive tackle?
yeah,
Defensive end?
defensive end.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so like, you could like, do the whole like Bill Cowher thing where you just, like grabs the guy by the helmet, rush the quarterback. Right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Greg Lloyd, rush the quarterback. Like that's your job, is to rush the quarterback, right?
yeah. There's
Does
a
it help to communicate with your teammates?
well,
Or beyond even like communicating about the play, does it help to have a bond with your teammates?
yeah.
How so? Why?
Well, within your position, there's like a bond with your position group because they do the same thing as you. So you're like closer to them maybe than other people on the team. And then if you're on defense, defense has like a whole bond because they work as a unit together.
Sure.
Compared to like the offense will have their own separate bond kind of thing. So like the more you work together, or the more you work with someone else, the bigger of a bond you're going to have, and
Sure.
like that helps with performing well, I guess. I don't know.
Absolutely. That's my experience as a coach in sports. Anybody been a member of a band or orchestra or drumline or marching band or anything like that? Okay. How does affiliation play a role into that? Would anybody volunteer to talk to me about that? Does it help to feel part of that community? Yeah. Okay. Alexis, you play softball? Yeah. Now I gotta ask you this, because softball seems like the pinnacle of affiliation. Because every softball game I go to, they're doing a cheer, they're doing the claps, the whole works. What role does affiliation, does social bonds play in softball?
The closer you are, the more you like trust your teammates on the field.
For sure.
So, just the more you hang out.
Hang on, so it goes off the field too as well.
Yeah.
So there's a connection amongst people off the field. Okay, now we can do this with a whole bunch of different organizations. But what we do seem to, when people reflect and give their own attitudes, they do seem to have this trend as close relationships make things meaningful, right? It can create joy. Your book was talking about a study where it talked about our need to relate to one another, combined with our own sense of competence and our own sense of autonomy, feeling in control and feeling like a job is being well done, correlating with high levels of self-esteem. Okay? But beyond that, there were some things that I found kind of crazy. Like, I'm going to have to bring in some more pictures of my family. Because when I'm looking at some of the research, they were talking about an area in your prefrontal cortex associated with pain, right? There was a decrease in activity in that area, which literally means pictures of your loved ones are a natural painkiller, right? Pain reducer. Well, that's pretty good. But what happens when we don't have this sense of secure attachment? What happens when we don't have this sense of belonging? A couple of things your book talked about were insecure anxious attachment and insecure avoidant attachment. The anxious attachment is, that kind of manifests itself when someone will constantly be seeking the approval of others, constantly be seeking to be in the in crowd, or what they want to be in the in crowd, or constantly seeking to be accepted by a group of people, but at the same time always paranoid that they aren't accepted by a group of people, right? I think we all, if we're honest, have maybe had like somewhat of feelings like this, right? Anybody remember 6th, 7th, and 8th grade? Okay. Additionally, avoidance attachment. This is like avoidance conditioning, where you learn to avoid a particular stimuli. Insecure avoidance attachment speaks to this idea where we're not comfortable around others because we are maybe fearful about what the result might be, and that may manifest itself in us actually avoiding social situations. So, let's just talk about this kind of as a large group. What have we done to gain acceptance? Right? Let's do a little bit of self-reflection here. So what I'm going to have you do, and Sam, I'm going to have you pause the video in just a second. There's that little line with the universal pause sign.
Yeah.
Here in a second.
All right.
What I want you to do in this class, and what I want you to do here as you're viewing this lesson on the line, is ask yourself, to what groups do you belong? When did you first feel accepted by a group, and that could be multiple groups? How were new members added to those groups that you are a member of? Do you conform to the group standards? And how much of your behavior, of who you are, is influenced by being a member of those groups, right? This could be sports teams. This could be activity in music. This could be like speech and debate team. This could be like being a member of AP Psych Nation. What's up, right? Being a graduate of AP Human Geo Nation. What's up, right? Being a Southport Cardinal. Being accepted into a university, right? Being a member of a church. Being a member of any sort of social organization. Being a good employee of whatever place that you work for, right? What groups do you belong to, and how does this influence your behavior? We're going to talk about it for about 5 minutes, and we're going to come back and reflect on it. Then we're going to move on to the next slide, and Sam's going to press play, and we're going to roll. Ready? Pause it.
You're good.
Okay, so now let's talk about the pain of being shut out, right? Social conflict, social friction can occur with two people like getting in an argument, right? But there can also be friction by the absence of an argument. What I mean is by people being shunned, or by people being ignored, by people being what we would call ostracized. And sometimes this social isolation can result in a whole bunch of bad stuff happening, namely mental decline and poor health, as we see with the study here in 2009. Now, when we look at ostracism, right, think about some of the words that we use to describe emotional pain, right? Oh, I got out of that relationship and I was just crushed, right? Crushed? Well, I think of crushed as synonymous with like, crushed, man, you know what I mean? Heartbroken, right? You imagine the heart breaking, right? Or crushed, broken's a good one. We split, right? It's probably a better one than split, but you understand what I'm saying. We use words emotionally to describe things that happen to us physically. Well, there's reason for that. Like there's a psychological reason for that, and the reason is we do experience pain in the same way. We do experience social pain in the same way that we experience physical pain in terms of brain activity. It may be, it's obviously a little bit different, definitely different in terms of the way we feel it, definitely different a little bit in terms of brain activity, but the processes are similar. So, let's go ahead a little bit and have a conversation about bullying. Now, I want to be very careful when I talk about bullying because I realize it's a very serious thing. But I also want to tell you that the conversation about bullying has seemed to change within the last 10 years. Because people talk a lot about, and the world has changed in the last 10 years, there's cyberbullying, what is also called cyber ostracism, right? So let me give you an example of cyber ostracism. How many know that people have tweeted dumb things before? How many know that you've probably tweeted dumb things before? Okay? I'm not exempt from this. I've sent a tweet or two out that I've been like, yeah, you know what? Upon further review, that may not have been the wisest decision. I wish I would have done that. Right? Cyber ostracism is the effect of ostracism, but when we're looking at it, you have a social effect with social media, both positive and negative. We'll talk more about this here in the next couple of slides. But some people are now saying, particularly those in the psychological community, leading psychologists are suggesting that cyber ostracism may actually be worse than ostracism. Cyber bullying may actually be worse than getting in a physical conflict. I would like to know what you guys have to say about that, right? So I'm going to show you a video clip at some point, and we may have time for it today. We may not have time for it today. But do you know that, like, just looking at like the chemistry of this whole thing, you put a post out, right? I'm going to post something cool, right? Post it. You get a like. They've done studies on this, and you know what? Every time you get a like, you get a little hit of dopamine, right? We do know that the dopamine is the same neurotransmitter associated with like cocaine, right? And a whole bunch of other things. Operating under the pleasure principle, we like dopamine, right? Some people, right, they're saying may actually be, addicted would be the wrong word, but may go and seek out the dopamine hit, right? But also at the same time, when they're not getting the likes, or when they're not getting, the attention, or when a couple people maybe unfollow them, or a few people say nasty things to them on social media, there's pain accompanied with that. Has anybody, and you don't have to get specific with me, but has anybody ever been a part of a situation on one side or the other where they felt joy through social media success, heavy air quotes, or they felt bummed out by social media backlash? I'm looking for somebody to talk at this point, because it ain't going to be me. Have you ever felt joy from success on social media, being retweeted, people being commenting favorably on you, or have you ever felt negatively regarding the fallout of a poor social media post, or somebody didn't like yours, and then you felt like social pain as a result of that? Elizabeth?
I was gonna say, I feel like all of us have felt this, like, if you like someone and then you post something for them to see and they don't like it, then you feel like wow, they didn't see it, they must not, you jump to conclusions and you feel really negatively about it.
Sure. So when you post it, you assume that they saw it,
Yeah.
even though they may have, been cutting the grass, right? Good. Yeah, Vaughn?
And when they like your post, you kind of get really happy.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's keep going with this. Let's keep going with this. Bad stuff happening on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Okay? How many of you have been hurt by something that happened on one of these three sites? You can admit it, right? Have been bummed out. Yeah. Do you feel like it's just as bad or worse than if it would have happened like face to face? Okay, you say worse. Alex, talk to me about what? Right.
I feel like sister, people aren't really see the reaction.
Sure.
And they won't say anything bad if you
Yeah. See, I feel like when you do it face to face, you engage the climate of the room, right? Like, I got in an argument with a guy on Twitter, and he's a famous guy, and he just kept coming after me, right? He's a high school basketball recruiting analyst or whatever. And he made some stupid comment, and I called him on it, right? Well, then he decided to quote me so that all his minions could come and do whatever they wanted to do to me. And I was like, dude, you're just not going to get away with that, so now I'm just going to lambast you, right? So now all of your little followers are going to watch you get destroyed in an argument on social media because you don't know what you're talking about. So the basic premise of what he was trying to say, and this was immature and sophomore of me to do, but I did it anyway. And I didn't feel any better about it afterwards. Because I won, but I didn't feel better about it afterwards. The basic premise what he was trying to say is an 18-year-old is an 18-year-old. And there's no difference. And you could be 18 in one day or 18 in 364 days, right? And we know that's not true. Like, literally, like, if you're the day before your first birthday, or if you're the day before your second birthday, like, the day before your first birthday and the day before your second birthday, let's do it like this. Let's do the day after your first birthday or the day before your second birthday. You're both still one, right? Except for the fact that this person is 2 times older than this. He's twice as old, right? Obviously, that's logical. That only makes sense. They've done studies, for example, on professional hockey players. The vast majority of professional hockey players were born in 3 months after the cutoff date. They can do the same thing with professional baseball players. Why? Well, because those guys were bigger, stronger, they got more attention, they got better coaching. This is only like logical to people that want to work through reason. Well, he didn't seem to get that, so I just put him on blast for the whole world to see, right? Now, or his little followers, however many K's he has after his name. All right, now, I didn't feel any better about that. As a matter of fact, I feel worse. And I felt so bad about it that like a month later, I just deleted all of it. Because I was like, I don't want any record of the fact that I took the bait on this guy. It doesn't matter. I don't want any record. I felt horrible about it, right? And I was successful, right? What if I wasn't successful, right? Yeah? I'll tell you where I see this. I see these people with blue check marks. They'll say something, and it turns out to be false. And then they'll defend it, they'll defend it, they'll defend it, they'll defend it, and then the backlash gets so bad that then they issue some like half-witted apology, right? And then they delete the tweet, right? They don't care, but it gets so bad. The ostracism gets so bad. The story on the news about this person tweeted this, and they just finally just give in because I'm guaranteeing there's pain. Maya?
Well, see, that's why I feel like social media makes it so much worse because it's not really deleting. Because people are seeing it, the screenshots are there, so
Right.
it's like, no matter how much you wish you could take it back, you can't.
It still happened. That's right. Yeah?
For example, I only thought because my brother wants something like that, and it was a really serious matter, like with suicide, and we posted a video,
Sure.
and he wanted to raise money,
Sure.
but they posted the video and it got all over Twitter, and people were like, it was a really bad backlash,
Right.
and he posted a video and the post of him apologizing,
Yeah.
and this is an example.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So what we're going to do is we're all going to go to page 417. Even you. You're going to 417 too. And we're going to read this close-up section on managing your social network. After you read this, you're to have a small conversation with the people around you about these 5 things. How much time are you spending on social media a day? How emotionally distracted are you when you're using social media? How many posts do you make that you would categorize as important? How often do you turn off your mobile devices? And have you ever gone on a social networking fast? If so, how did that separation make you feel? Right? Okay, so we're going to pause the video. We're all going to read this. Jump over ready, Sam. Okay. I want to ask you some different questions than these. I'm glad that you guys were able to reflect on this with your partners and with your small groups. But I want to ask you a few different questions. First of all, let's just get a survey here. Let's just get a quick inventory. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Here's your options. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Is there anything else? I don't know what Tumblr is.
Tinder?
No Tinder. I don't know what that is. I do know what that is. I'm lying. I don't know what Omegles is. Somebody was talking about that.
That's what you
Not safe. Yeah, you don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that, everyone.
It's not safe. Matter of fact, I'm worried about the safety of some of these. Like, I'm thinking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs and your safety needs. I'm starting to think, hey, man, we may want to go on a social media fast, which is my next question, but don't answer that yet. Who says their favorite medium of social media is Twitter? Who says Instagram?
MySpace.
We left Facebook in 2014. We left that 4chan.
Never turn back.
It's gone. Facebook is for the old people.
Snapchat. Now I will say I don't know anything about Snapchat, but somebody has showed me that they have like these little people that can show where people are.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
That's creepy.
You can turn it off.
Yeah, turn that thing off, man. I wouldn't want everybody to be knowing where I'm at. Like, yeah, man, just over at the Walgreens again. What's that? Okay. So we're kind of like split, except for Facebook is down, right? So there was a survey recently, and it was 94% of students entering college. 94% of students that are entering college. Here's some of my favorite tweets ever, by the way. Had either Facebook or Twitter. Here's Jaden Smith. Boy, he had a heck of a September 12th. If newborn babies could speak, they would be the most intelligent beings on planet Earth. Yeah.
Planet is also capitalized
Every
and
letter.
If everybody in the world dropped out of school, we would have a much more intelligent society. I love how he puts a period at the end of all these stuff. Like, we want to be marginally grammatically correct here. We have here the Chief Keef. Me and Chop did 30 songs in 3 days, 75% written, 40% freestyle. And I love the people that are retweeting it, like, oh yeah, man. Yeah, 115%.
You didn't follow him?
No, I don't follow him. I saw it on the video. What is it? Is this guy like sneezing? What does that mean? Yeah. Oh, I don't get it. Why y'all acting like the world's just now getting messed up? What about slavery in the Hall of Cost? Pick up a book, man. What's the matter with you guys? Now, obviously, we're not laughing at these horrible, disgusting things that have happened, but this guy, kind of saying, hey, man, pick up a book. Will you? Right? Or, I'm going to join my colleagues at the official CBC at the U.S. Africa Leaders Summit to discuss the valuable relationship between our two countries. Yo, Africa's not a country. Did you know that? Like, I don't know what's going on here, right? So obviously, when we look at these, I'm thinking of like talking, texting, gaming, posting, emailing. My wife has a new word for it called scrolling. That's when you're just like wasting time, right? You know what I'm talking about? Just wasting time, looking at other people and what they're putting. And you know what that does is it's kind of comparative, right? We begin to compare ourselves against other people rather than to compare ourselves against whatever standard of behavior that we want to pursue. How about this? 80% of 12 to 17-year-olds are cell phone users. That was in 2013, so my guess is it's gone up. That was a Pew Research study. I thought this was kind of wild. In India, more people have cell phone access than toilets in their home, right? It's been that way for a while, actually. Additionally, it's like you can't escape being connected. And I almost would raise your hand if you've ever conducted a social media or cell phone or technology fast. Has anybody ever tried that? Does anybody think that they may want to try that again? I have thought so often about deleting all of these things. The problem is, the way I stay connected with some people is through, particularly like Facebook, right? Like I've got some buddies that I went to college with. If I delete that Facebook, I may never stay connected with those guys again. So it's almost like they've got me sucked in and I can't get out, right? But I want to get out. I can't. 94% of college entrants, of students entering college in the study in 2010 were on Facebook or Twitter. That's crazy. So it's like you can never get away. And I'll tell you another thing it does. The anonymity of some of this stuff. So you think everybody on Twitter, is like a real person? It's certainly not. Ask Manti Te'o how that worked out. Okay? I'm just being real, all right? Now, particularly on message boards, people can post the most vile, disgusting, nasty stuff on message boards because it's anonymous. We don't really know who these people are. And you can look at all of these different things. Which one wastes more of your time? My guess is gaming is probably a bit big for a lot of us.
How much emailing can you do?
Okay, now I'm going to tell you something. There was a study in your book that said emailing has gone down for you guys. I live in this community known as Southport High School where everybody emails everybody about everything nonstop. I'll get 50 a day on the most useless information. Useless. Like, hey, Bill went to the bathroom. Keep an eye out. The paper towels are low in 242. Like, what? Why are you doing this? Right? Hey, the papers get low in the copy room. Delete. And then somebody will be like, hey, man, did you read my email? No. Because I don't read emails during the day. I teach. Who was just, if I were to dedicate my time reading all these emails, I would just be sitting behind my desk going, oh, Robert. You know, just one thing after another. It just gets to be so incredible. For you guys, no emailing, but for me, yes. Okay? Last thing, and then I've got a few more questions. Social networking can promote narcissism. Oh my gosh, I'm going to step on some toes. I don't want to. I don't want to because I don't want to be mean. But I'm going to ask you a question. If your social media sites have nothing but 1,000 pictures of you and yourself by yourself, you're in danger, my friends. You're in danger. Have it be somebody but you every 5th picture. It's okay. Or you and some other people together. Right? But what this can do is kind of promote this narcissistic behavior where you do see elements of extreme selfishness, extreme self-promoting, right? Obsessed with yourself. That puts you in danger for not recognizing the fact that you're just one of 7 billion, right? And it may not be all about you all the time. You can do that, but, and you know, here's another thing. We can kind of put out on social media just kind of like the perfect snow globe of the world, right? Like here's my picture, here it is, no filter. Yeah, right. You used a filter on that thing and you took 75 pictures of yourself to make it happen, right? I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. Do you know how it is? Like, we'll take a family picture. Like, hey, cool, we're done with that. No, we got to take 50 more, right? There's the perfect one out there. Because everybody else has these perfect ones out there. And it just seems like, is this authentic? Is this real? Or is this like just us trying to post stuff for, like what's going on here? Is this a comparison thing? What's happening? So, there is this, the amazing thing about the internet and social media is it has the potential to connect people. And it has the potential to connect like-minded people, but it also has the potential to show us that there are people with a different set of experiences, maybe a different set of values, maybe a different set of opinions, maybe a different sense of belief. And if you keep it civil and you keep it appropriate, it can be very valuable. But it has this capacity and capability for trouble. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is lonely people tend to spend more time than average online. So you may want to turn it off a little bit and connect up with a real person. Not that you're not collecting up with real people there, but real human face-to-face contact is more valuable than an incredible amount of online contact. I have a few more questions I want to ask to you. Are you up for answering them? Okay. How many of you have communicated more with your friends today online through text messaging or social media than you have face-to-face? Raise your hand. Okay, okay. How about this? How many of you have ever just, how many of you have ever taken a walk and put your cell phone away? Are we doing that? Your book talked about taking a walk, and there's authors like John Gordon that talk about taking positive, focused walks where you don't have social media to distract you, and they talk about the benefit. Your book cited this idea, and it said you do better cognitively and you can do better in terms of the amount remembered if you would just do that. How about this? How many of you? Okay, I got to be very careful. I better just not ask that question.
Just send it.
I don't want to step on any toes because there's. How many of you have a bunch of followers on Twitter that you don't even know?
Me. Half my followers are fake.
Fake? Really?
Yeah, like robots. And they just follow everyone.
Really?
Yeah. So on Twitter, there's like accounts that like follow you so that you follow their other account. In their bio, they write a free follow from whatever, and then
Yeah.
they write their ad.
So, and I'm serious. I'm not meaning to like besmirch or anything. Like, what is the value in that?
I don't know.
For like advertising, like a lot of people use Twitter for advertising. So like if you have an account that has a lot of followers, like, people will pay you to retweet or just post about something, and like you get a lot of money from it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of like AdSense on the YouTube.
Yeah.
Huh.
But this way, like it's not like official. It's like really under the table.
What's the biggest problem with social media that you guys have been thinking about since you've been sitting here? Biggest problem?
I think everybody on their internet is too snobby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I feel like because they're behind a screen, they get that feeling of security.
Because when you get face to face, you got to deal with the consequences.
Yeah. But when you're behind a screen.
Right. Let me tell you another thing about that, though. Your book talked about this. And I'm telling you where this all started. This started with something called AOL, RIP. Okay? America Online. America Online was the first time where you could get in like a chat room and you could create a name. I did this too. It was so stupid. DJ 2 Bass. All right? I played second bass. Yeah, I did. DJ 2 Bass. It was horrible. Anyway, so when you're there, you feel a little bit more, you feel less constricted socially than you would face to face. But see, here's a drawback of that, right? Let's say, I don't know. AJ, what'd you have before I get to that example?
I'm just saying, one bad thing is that it just rewards us for nothing, really. Like, it makes us feel important, or more important than we actually are, and it gives us, like, points for it, basically.
Yeah.
Which don't translate to anything.
Sure. Elizabeth?
I feel like the downside to social media is like no one has their own opinion. Like you said, like if someone with a check mark tweets something, nobody's gonna like contradict them because they have blue check marks, they must be right.
Right.
So it kind of like we follow. We're more followers than like people reading.
Right. Yeah. What are the benefits of social media, though? Like these are like this is amazing technology that can be used for so much good. Yes, Mom.
Because of social media, I made lots of friends from all over the world.
Yes.
It really opened my mind. Like it helped me know people better, cultures better.
Yeah.
Traditions.
Yeah. Excellent. AJ.
It's a great way to share information.
Yeah.
Some of it's important and some of it's like less important.
Yeah, you got to sift through what's important and what's not. It's a tremendous communication tool. What else are the benefits of social media? Levi, I haven't heard from you today. Do you find any benefits to this or no?
It's a good way to connect to others.
Absolutely. Yeah. London.
Like, for example, a good way I think that connecting with others is if there's an emergency on your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you have to drive all over that
Sure.
or send someone else and have
Sure. Yes.
Like spreading news, like
Absolutely.
with, I don't know, for like Twitter, I guess I see a lot of news stories, like something that's really important now without watching TV or
Right.
talking to other people.
Yeah. You don't necessarily have to wait for the news cycle, right? Okay, very good. I may talk to you guys about a little bit of this later, but here's what we all need to know. And I wish I was able to have this conversation with you guys, but we're going to be just okay. When we come back, I'm going to show you this awesome video on social media. It's incredible, and I'm going to share with you a little bit from a book I've been reading called Chop Wood, Carry Water by a dude by the name of Josh Medcalf on social media. So it's really going to get cool. It's going to get cool for you guys too. Module 41 is what we need to read, and I promise you I will talk about Module 39.